Tell them that I need more.
I'm ready.
So long, that's a really
Your life would not go to fire network.
that's a lot of really.
This one, but your life, your life.
I know I never embarrassed, but I'm so getting into it. Study. Yeah, you're right. Yes. You're welcome on Black Hot Fire Network. Today is our Wednesday, and of course, um, evening here in Uganda. We want to thank those who were with us yesterday. We made our yesterday's show so memorable. We really do appreciate you being here. And also, we hope you can join us today as well, so that we can, of course, have a discussion like we always do. Um, of course, thank you for those who watch us from Twitter. Yes. And of course, Facebook, YouTube. I'm seeing Kel Williams already in the comment section. And he says, "What's up, people? What are you doing on this time? 8:21 a.m. here. I'm in the break room." Yeah, we are here at this time because we've always had issues with the electricity. So, Kel Williams, you're asking if we have changed our time. Our time, I will say, usually our time changes a little bit. So we decided to change because whenever it is our time, at times the skies turn gray and our electricity goes off. You can see yesterday we were here a little bit late. We had the show at night because of the electricity. So yeah, so today we were like, let's try to come in earlier, hopefully, yeah, and see to it that we beat the time, and of course make sure that at least we have appeared here for today. We hope the electricity doesn't go off, and but we are hoping for a beautiful show. And Kel Williams, thank you for being here. Yesterday you missed our show. It was quite nice, but we didn't see you around. But yeah, we are happy you're here today. So today's topic is about free citizenship for African Americans, free African citizenship for African American. We've seen a lot of countries that, not a lot, but some countries that have come out to, of course, say it is okay for African Americans to move back to Africa and, of course, obtain citizenship. We've seen Kenya, we've seen Ghana, and other countries are coming out, really. Recently, when the president of Uganda was in Kenya, he spoke about the boundaryless Africa. He spoke about a continent with no boundaries. I guess a lot of people were appreciating, of course, his speech and all that. But we have some countries that are granting citizenship. Of course, we have it's granting free citizenship for African American. Now we know that several African countries. We know that several African countries have extended the privilege of a free citizenship to individuals of African descent based on their or descendant based on their ancestral DNA. All right, so we know that Ghana, known as the gateway to Africa, of course, Ghana has long welcomed individuals in the African diaspora seeking to return to their ancestral homeland. Now, the year of return, or a campaign gained the year of return, uh, which was, of course, a campaign that Ghana, of course, started, which gained global attention and welcomed African American, tracing their lineage back to specific tribes or ethnic groups primarily based in Ghana. Now, recently, Ghana granted citizenship to approximately 250 African Americans and Afro Caribbeans. And then Sierra Leone also, of course, starting around November 2020, it embarked on a journey to offer citizenship to individuals of African descendants whose ancestors hailed from the country. Of course, collaborating with African Ancestry, a DNA testing company in the United States, of course, helped to, of course, guide or it witnessed the first bunch of African American receiving citizenship in January 2021. So there are African Americans who traced their, of course, roots back to Sierra Leone, of course, were given citizenship. Now, Gabon as well, which, of course, in 2019, uh, the actor Samuel L. Jackson discovered through a DNA test that he is a member of the Benga people of Gabon. Now, this revolution prompted him to travel to Gabon, where he was granted Gabonese citizenship. Similarly, Ludacris or Christopher Brian Bridges also received Gabonese citizenship after uncovering his ancestral or his roots. Simple. So we say that Eritrea are recognized as individuals of Eritrean descent as Eritrean citizens by birth, whether they have an Eritrean father or mother. The country has also extended citizenship to those without Eritrean. So for Eritrea, it's not about your DNA, but if at all you feel like you want to, of course, travel. All right. So it has granted a citizenship to Tiffany Haddish, an American actress of Eritrean heritage who traveled to her native country to acquire citizenship. Now, these African countries offer the chances to explore ancestral connections and acquire a second passport, embodying the growth trend of reconnecting with culture heritage. So we have seen a lot of African countries really are coming up to, of course, accept and welcome uh, different people, more especially the African Americans, to come back to Africa and, of course, claim their roots. Um, it's hard to keep up because of work, all right? I understand that's what I'm saying. Ghana was given out citizenship to Ghana was given out citizenship to Black Americans, and that turned out to be a scam just to grab money.
Ama. Nali mukama ojava okwogera said to see something simply looking like you plus um so um K. Williams, thank you for, of course, joining our show and commenting in. Let me hope you're doing good. Talking about free citizenship for African Americans. For me, to me, this is to me, this is something that I don't know even this tomorrow receipts.
Please.
Is
Sorry.
said you are looking lost today.
Omusajja mukulu munno.
So
Alina ebizibu.
So looking at of course freeing citizenship for all African Americans, I don't think that to me this is something I could, if I was a president of some of the African countries, I could. This is something that is good, of course. Which actually these Black Americans, African Americans, sorry, which I don't expect that they should even be charged any money to get citizenship in these countries because they belong to Africa. They belong to African soil. So if I told someone this, it doesn't even need DNA. If I told someone wishes to be a Ugandan,
There you say
go to Uganda,
exactly the way I feel.
yeah, get citizenship. If at all like you want to go to Ghana, you don't need to do DNA stuff. You're an African. Any country you feel like you want to be, you want to go to Nigeria. That's where you want to be. Just go get citizenship. But we still have even some African countries where uh, uh, countries where, of course, countries that have not declared to allow these African Americans to acquire citizenship. They have not declared. However,
and the men.
However, K. Williams said that it turned to be a scam just to grab money. I don't know which group is scamming to grab money.
Ghana.
Eh?
Ghana.
Ghana as a country. That is terrible. So it is scamming these the African Americans. Eh? It's not giving them real citizenship.
You know the what did you what was that? Ghana, K. Williams was saying that Ghana was giving out citizenship to Black Americans, and that turned out to be a scam just to grab money. I don't know. You mean the citizens, the citizenship that they were receiving was
Fake?
temporary, fake, or what? Because I don't really understand. I want to talk a little bit about that, but I want to be so sure of what K. Williams is explaining. For some time, I don't know how it has been going on with the Ghana as a government issuing out citizenship, but I know of a situation where there is a Black American who bought a huge piece of land. And again, there are of course, the Ghana government gave that land again to a white gay man who wanted to build, I think, some gay house, whatever the gay people do with that shit. But wanted to build, I guess, a residence where some gay people will be meeting and all that, gay treatment and all that. So I don't know. I don't know. So, Kel Williams, I think you were. I would request really for you to explain a little bit about that scam thing, because if you're issued the citizenship, then
to someone, because it's all about issuing and it's done.
Yeah, and it's done. So,
citizen.
what scam? Are they asking for money?
Are they giving them?
Are they giving them fake citizenship that within a time the police comes and arrests them and they're deporting them back to the U.S.? Or are they demanding them, a lot? Or are they having other people in Ghana who want to scam them? Because of course these are things that they scam people every day in Africa. And for you to be scammed, it has got nothing to do with you're a Mzungu or an African American. They even scam their fellow people whom they know. All right. So before even I explain a little bit about that, I want to really.
I know about the Black American who got the land taken out from them to give them
to the gays. Yes. So I want for you to explain to me a little bit how the citizenship to the Black Americans turned out to be a scam. Where was the Ghanaian government not issuing the citizenship like it promised? Was it, of course, asking a lot of money from the African American, or were they not receiving exactly what they had promised them? Um, so, what exactly? Because I want to really I want to explain something when I'm very sure of what you are explaining, so that we are on the same line. All right. I don't want to misunderstand like what you're trying to explain. So that's why I want to know, like, were they not giving them the citizenship? Were they, of course, asking a lot of money from them? When were they not? How unfair was the Ghana government towards the citizenship issuing? To, of course, the no, there was promised citizenship and it was over there, buying a whole lot of things and never got citizen. Oh yeah.
It was so bureaucratic. A lot of processes, maybe within a lot of, you have to follow a lot of processes. And I know, different African, like you have to possess land in that land. They have to know like your status. They have to retest you for DNA, such
But
stuff.
so I don't know, because to me, I remember sometime we were discussing about the things. The reason why I feel that the African Americans in America uh, are advantaged, more especially when it comes. What are this? More especially when it. More especially when it comes to tribal issues, segregation, and all that. So okay, like I was trying to explain, it's that I felt like, and I still feel that way, that a lot of African Americans in America are very advantaged more than us, despite them not having the identity they feel. But at least knowing your root is very important, which is okay. But this issue of trying to categorize them, you are categorizing them by the same tribes that were introduced by the colonizers. Then what difference are you making? If at all black African Americans should be given the chance to choose where they want to settle, and nobody should question about their DNA or whatever they think they need to do. All right. So the issue of you have to sign, or you have to test, or you belong to this culture, so we are taking you to that village, or we want you. It's like they are also trying to arrange them. I don't know. They are like trying to arrange them, you know, to arrange them in a way that they can be identified, which I find like it is not right. And this is why I guess um this is why I guess that Kel Williams says there was promised citizenship and it was over there.
Maybe,
Of course, buying a whole lot of things and never got
maybe,
citizenship.
maybe this thing, they wanted to scam the poor black, the poor, of course, African Americans, because I'm seeing like most of the celebrities, these are people that I was seeing with the president of Ghana. They were hugging.
I think for them they were promoting that.
Yeah, they were shaking hands. The prominent people, the prominent, of course, black, the prominent African Americans. I was seeing them. Someone was even showing that citizenship kind of a document to show that he's now a Ghanaian by citizenship. So and they had several meetings with the government, and they keep lying them just to get money
from them.
Yeah, it might be true. It might be true because I wasn't seeing like any normal. We would see those prominent black, of course, African Americans are getting citizenship. Not seeing any other person that is not known. Together, I know there are a lot of people that tried that are not even mentioned by the media, but they did not get this citizenship, just like William is saying, and this is wrong. And by the way, all these
abantu babeera nga batonze buli kimu
kitegeera ayagala kudda mu Africa. Kitegeera. And all these plans, they are, of course, they are just introduced to Africans. Kitegeera. These deals, they are introduced by the whites to these to Africans.
To use them against each other.
Kitegeera.
Because how can you be scamming someone you are inviting over?
And they are so sure that black, of course, African Americans, or what do you call it? African Americans, they, as in their intro, like there is a way they are introducing a connectivity relationship with the Africans that are in Africa. So, like whites, the Bazungus are looking at this as a threat, as a weapon Africans are using to, of course, fight the whites. So they think if at all Africans really make such groups, they may end up fighting, of course, the Bazungus. If at all many Africans link with these Africans that are within these Bazungu countries, which is something that is not just right to them. K. Williams says that, by the way, these are a lot of older black Americans. They are going over there. The older black Americans, they are going over there. In these, of course, countries. So, to me, just like I said earlier, why would we? And by the way, that's why Africans, it is going to take us long to collaborate within Africa, and of course the people that are outside Africa. Actually, the African Americans that we see outside Africa, they would, of course, act as ambassadors to Africans that are within Africa. They should act as, of course, as ambassadors that are within Africa. So we see that okay. So William says, and a lot of young black Americans do not want no part of it. They don't know it's a scam. Ghana had a great chance. What if fans and messed up? So they're gonna come around this good. So I've not seen that in Uganda. However, I've seen a lot of black Americans coming here in Uganda for the reasons that are unknown. Prominent black Americans for the reasons that are unknown. Because you just wake up and see someone coming in, they say someone is in Uganda. Someone has met the president.
I've also seen the British, the black British, the British African, the African British, that some of them were trying to start up a TV and a radio station here. And they wanted to talk about black culture and all that. And I've seen also others come on different radios and television. And then there is also a lady. She's an African American woman, and she always talks about spirituality and all that. And she usually travels here And whenever she travels, yeah, she meets and goes to some radio station and talks a lot about spirituality and all that. And I have to check through my Facebook and see this woman. Sometime when I saw the light bearer, I thought she was. She has some kind of the same name, something like that, but she's an African American. So I've seen a lot of people who like, but I've seen a lot of spiritual people rather who have come down here. Um, and I've also seen some African American, more especially the conscious ones, who still come here. And whenever they do, they go to radio stations and they be preaching. Um, so we have like K. Williams said that a lot of young Black Americans do not want no part of it. Now they know it's a scam. Ghana had a great chance to advance and it messed up. Besides Ghana messing up, I don't really think there are a lot of young African American who would wish to come here, given the experience and given the discussions that I see.
In Ghana over money. Can you imagine? There is a way Africans view people that are from, of course, Bazungu countries. They think someone has money. They think they have what?
That's a shame.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. That's a typical shame. It's a typical shame. Umaina bote beewummuza. Tomulaba munyampi. Tebeewummuza ojja weesamira mu tebeewummuza. Ensi kati yafa togenda kujja kwesamira ku bantu bw'otyo bakuleke. That's so sad. I didn't expect Ghana to be doing that. Really. It's funny anyway, but and sad at the same time because I thought this would be a good example that actually Ghana made at that time. But like I was saying before, when it comes, I think when people grow older, there's a way they view things. And this is why we have a lot of older Black Americans coming to Africa. And despite of Ghana being messed up, I don't even expect to see a lot of course, young Black Americans involving themselves in this. Because it's a few of people who still believe, like 4 or 5 Black Americans got killed in Ghana for money. That is terrible. That's terrible. Sorry. That news is very unfortunate.
So, to me, for me, I see like we see that like the like blacks outside, of course, Africa. Most of them that are not even born in Africa, they are fighting to come back to Africa. They are fighting to find out their real DNA, where they belong. So, I've seen a lot of people that have got some money, some money in Africa, if at all someone has a wife, he makes sure that her wife gives birth from USA to get see that that automatic citizenship of USA, of which citizen by birth. So of which we see that it is a long distance from like Uganda to USA to UK, where you see these prominent people take their wives to give birth from. Like, why is it that we can't embrace what we have here? Leaving all factors constant, why is it that we can't embrace? Someone has a belief of getting a USA citizenship from Africa. Someone takes her wife to USA to give birth there so that the kid can get a certificate. These people, do they think that the world is going to change Africans to go to US and the Americans to come here? Mm. Babira Babalakachi. What is the logic behind that? Eh? So K. Williams says that a lot of young black Americans will not come to Africa. They do not even talk about Africa. This is true. First, like, and actually, they may be having a perspective of a different perspective about Africa compared to the older people. They may be having a different perspective compared to Africa, depending apart from the older people. Yet, during slave trade, when our ancestors were taken from Africa, uh, let me ask you this: had these people divided land yet? Huh?
But when they took people into slavery, mostly some.
So William says, and I thought Rwanda was on the right track. They didn't mess up, took in all those white immigrants. That will be a problem. And Rwanda is a different case, Williams. Yeah, and Rwanda is a small country. And I think in East Africa, I think Uganda is one of the, actually, is the leading country to keep the refugees. Like, we have a lot and a lot of races here in Uganda. Do you know that we have the Dutch here? We have Somalis here, the Africans, we have the Eritrean, we have a lot of people within Africa and outside Africa in Uganda. But Rwanda is a very small country, which I think it is also a scam of taking refugees to Rwanda, thinking that it is a safer place. Yet we have seen a lot of people coming out to, of course, a lot of refugees coming out to expose Rwanda, how it is mistreating these refugees. But I've never seen any refugee in Uganda coming out to, of course, expose Uganda that he or she has been mistreated or beaten up. But in Rwanda, they arrest and detain refugees. If you misbehave in Rwanda, or if at all you involve in any political activity, that is prison. You're in prison. Whatever they even arrest and detain Chinese, Africa's favorite. So how about these refugees? So giving citizenship to, of course, African Americans, this is a step towards, of course, uniting Africa. At least, to me, I give credit to these, of course, African Americans, because at least they have been in that, they have swum in the waters of Europe. They have tested directly on, of course, on the harshness, roughness, and of course, racial discrimination of the whites. So this is the time. This could be the time for all African Americans to go back to their respective African countries or communities to find their, of course, their ancestral grounds, to find their sisters and brothers, uncles and aunties, because like there are families I know here in Uganda that, of course, have that history, that long history of slavery and and of course that lineage of slave trade. Some people claim like my great grandfather was taken to Britain, and that's why we have this land today. Because the chiefs that of course sold out to these people were given a lot of possessions. Ochitegera, they were given possessions. I've heard of families that of course that are spotted to have been rich families, by the way. Nadala in my home district. Like you find the families, they say that you know why those people were very rich during those days. However much this time they're no longer rich, but they will tell you that all that land belonged to that family. It's because of slave trade. It's because of slave trade. There is a family I know in my home district. This is where these slave masters, whenever they could come to Uganda to pick slaves, they could sleep in that place. They were like some kind of lodges. Nakati bikyali wakubakati bukadde buli relevant. Okitegeera kati like even the woman, waliwo omukazi mukadde, that woman was my friend. That was my friend. However, she was my friend. Nga mukadde nali mu 80s naye nga avuga wheelbarrow y'obusa. Lwayina amaanyi. Nga mukadde muwanvu yina bwati. So that woman told me that whenever the whites could come to Uganda to pick slaves, they could sleep at her home. Like her home worked as a lodge, hotel, small hotel to of course harbor these people before they could go and raid. So if at all these people come back here to Africa to of course assess and look for their real roots. I know why of course Ghana is of course acting like a scam. It might be looking at a lot of things. It might be looking at a lot of things like what is the name of your ancestor Rwanda? Taking those white immigrants will bring nothing but problems when will Africa land? And by the way, K. Williams, we see that these of course refugees, these white refugees, after losing a meaning, after finding challenges in Rwanda, they go in, of course, different nearby African countries, and Rwanda knows this because you can't stay in Rwanda for some good time. And after staying in Rwanda, after spending months in Rwanda, they see that the place is not accommodative to their state. They keep on going to Kenya, they keep on coming to Uganda, and in Uganda it is worse. They keep on going to Congo, they keep on going to Burundi, they keep on going to different African countries. Because I've seen a lot of poor whites here in Uganda. True. You are like, where did this guy came from? Someone has no hopes of going back. To, of course, they can't afford to go back. You find someone walking on the streets, very dirty. And most of these people, the whites, I find they are very dirty. Why? It's because of the environment. The environment. I find most of them very dirty. I was like, look at this white. But these are refugees that are taken to Rwanda. They keep on spreading to different African countries because Rwanda is not accommodative. First of all, it is small. Second of all, it is affected by hunger. They don't have enough food in Rwanda. They don't have enough food. So, which makes everything difficult due to the fact that it is the major. And by the way, the whites, they are doing this. USA, UK is doing this intendedly. It knows that Rwanda can't accommodate. They know Rwanda can't accommodate.
And there are rumors that are running around.
Tebajja musobola
baagala mujjako bwali bakyanga bayekera okuva e Rwanda abazungu
tebalina gye bajja kujjako tebajja mujjako tebajja mujjako ona banasobera balina amagye Do you know that waliwo amagye agatamanyikiddwa na kumanya namba yago? Kati onambuulire tasobola mweggyako naawe. Tasobola mweggyako. So these whites end up coming to different African countries because Rwanda can't accommodate. But I've not seen very many blacks, by the way, being deported or being taken to Rwanda as refugees. I've not seen very many blacks or Africans being taken, but I'm seeing a lot of whites. Like, why don't they take these people to their respective countries? However much they don't have documents that are attached to them, but why don't they take them to those countries? Someone may be like I was reading an article how different people were taken to Rwanda and they got mistreated. Some of them were even detained. Someone was like, I spent 2 months, I was with my baby in Rwanda, things were not accommodative, we could even receive a meal once a day. So the woman was like, my major aim was to go to UK and I'm still planning to go to UK. After Rwanda, that woman came to Uganda. After that woman being in Uganda for some time, went to Kenya. Finally, the woman went back to UK. So the process is, it is just recycling. These whites are spreading in different African countries and they're becoming a threat. The other time I was seeing a certain white. I was with Maria. We were watching a certain white in one of the districts in Uganda. This was a man who had a girlfriend they were married with a girlfriend. Then this guy realized that the kid this woman had bared was not his. The guy killed the young girl and was a grown up white. The guy ended up killing the woman and the kid. So these are the things, of course, that these people are bringing to Africa. We want African decent people in Africa. That's what we want. And like we don't like when for me when I realized that they are black, like when I learned to realize when I was growing up that there are blacks outside the African continent. I was like, did these people just live here to go and work that side? Were these people born that side? After some time, I realized that there are people that are born within USA that have stayed their whole life, their entire life in USA, UK, Australia, and other countries. So, if at all, these black or African Americans, um, what their ancestors were taken here as slaves to those respective countries. Do we need, is there any need for these people to acquire citizenship in African countries, yet they were taken as slaves from here? Is there any need? I don't think there is any need to beg these people to, of course, to create a lot of processes for these people to create citizenship. As long as you identify it as a black, look for where to go. I think it is. I think that's what should be done. I think that's what should be done for this case. Kitegeera?
Okay.
Oy. So for me, I think that's what should be done in that case. Abakunywa akakooko.
Ekiyinja kyange kinnuma.
Sirina kuba yakyeza. Eno emmeeza tetwagikutteko, kyasigaddeko ku mmeeza. Ogamba kyaleese mubi. Ogamba kyaleese mubbi. Ndagala liganye n'okwesiba kati bw'aba bateekako kaaki ate nga kuliko kano nga tannasiba.
You know, the funniest thing about the issue of the migrants in Rwanda. It is, I know Kagame is well aware of
that he can't accommodate him.
forget even the accommodation. I think there is where Kagame himself as a person is benefiting from those people coming to Rwanda. Because even before he allows other people to come, he should have brought back the Rwandese people who are refugees in other countries. Do you know we have refugees from Rwanda?
Yeah.
There was a certain time there is a man who was called Kaihura. You remember Kaihura's incident in Uganda? There was a time where a lot of Rwandese were deciding to travel back to Rwanda. Because Kaihura was in Kakun. These people, they boarded the bus very well, and they knew that the Rwandese government was waiting. Never but they would so actually we learned this case in International Criminal Court where a woman was confessing that she was almost killed. She left Uganda. They left Uganda in a bus filled with Rwandese people who were in.
Oli yamuleese oba akubye ono n'adduka okitegeere yaleese ono ku ppiki okiraba ono yaleese ono ku ppiki yamuleese ne bayimirira baveeko bavaako ono ne bamukuba bano ne bavaako ne badduka okiraba oli n'adduka n'addayo nono n'adduka eno ppiki ne bakola ki ne bagirekawo ekyabadde.
So this woman confessed. I think at that time she was seeking refuge in Britain, and she confessed in the International Criminal Court. Actually, she was reporting the government of Uganda and Rwanda of course working together. In working together, in working together to kill these people. So, but I guess this is why we saw this guy, Bani.
Maria, put some oil on those quick doors.
Look like you got me some. So, Kaihura. After these issues went viral, and on the International Criminal Court, we saw Kaihura, and a lot of cases were put on Kaihura, and then he was, the police started looking for him, and basically the son of the president himself went to arrest Kaihura. So those stories, the president claims that he didn't know anything, given the fact that Kaihura at that time was, I think, inspector of police. So they had collected a lot of people of people who come from Rwanda. Remember during the genocide of 1994, a lot of Rwandese moved, the Hutus and the Tutsis. A lot of them moved here to Uganda, others went to Tanzania, but a lot also came here. So at that time, they decided that now Kagame told those people, coming to Rwanda is at a free cost. Come back home. And a lot of people rushed to travel back to Rwanda, really. So they filled some buses and traveling was really free. But this woman confessed in the International Criminal Court that she was among the survivors. She survived being killed because they reached a point. They reached the border of Uganda and Rwanda, and they were removed from the buses, and both of them were fired. They are removing each buses carries how many passengers? 86, 84. So they killed these people like they're having a firing squad. They murdered all these people, and the buses, of course, rode back. They drove back. Now, people thought they were going back to Rwanda. Now, if Kagame was involved in this murder, the murder of those people, then the biggest question is still why?
Yeah, for a mugo.
Oh God, you're crazy. So if Kagame was involved in the murder of these people, who really are his people because they are Rwandese, then what is the logic behind him welcoming these white immigrants? Because we have got a lot of immigrants. First of all, the people who are coming down to Rwanda are not citizens of Britain, right? These are just people who have traveled there, who have migrated there, seeking for asylum or whatever reason. Now, these people are being brought to Rwanda. We have had issues with the United States of America as of now, where America has been having a lot of terrorist attacks being aimed, and a lot of people around doing a lot, to the point that the Americans began to be scared. So, because that there was a certain time where it was free for everyone to join America, and whenever there is such kind of chance that we see a lot of bad people who, of course, join the countries or the communities that are giving them liberty. We have got a lot of terrorists that were actually trained from the United States of America, and we have got a lot of them still who are working for big organizations, big security organizations in the United States of America, and now they are terrorists or they are leaders of terrorist groups in different countries. Usually, I don't believe in this. I don't believe in what Kagame himself is doing, because given the fact that Rwanda is developing, still Rwanda has issues of food. Okay, what is Rwanda going to feed these people? Secondly, we are going to see an abnormal movement, like you are saying, of these people to other East African countries. We are going to see abnormal movement. We are going for tourism. You're about to start seeing chaos. You're about to start seeing chaos within the East African community because of these immigrants that are moving to Rwanda. Rwanda is a very small country. and even it cannot handle the population, then how are you allowing such a huge population? Because as this huge population comes, you're not going to limit whether they're going to marry the Rwandese women or not. But usually, for one thing I've known for sure, African leaders don't make deals with no reasons. Most of them have reasons why they make this weird deal, and usually these deals are for their own benefit, not for the country. Because at this moment, if the Bazungu have failed to handle the cases of the immigrants, yet they are known, they have a lot, they have, their economy is a little bit different from our economy, then if you have failed to handle this population, how is Rwanda going to handle this population? The next thing we are going to see, because you are not sure of who actually is coming down to Rwanda, what if they are bringing other people who are going to cause coups or terror? Because we have realized that a lot of African countries, more especially the East African countries, have got a lot new or virgin minerals that have been discovered. How sure are we that these white immigrants that are being brought to Rwanda are actually immigrants? We're not sure. How sure are we that? Let me first read some comments here. Kel Williams says, how long do you guys be staying on? I have to get back to work. Have a great day, people. Thank you. Now we are remaining with like 2 hours. Yeah, we're here for 3 hours. And of course, Jabba, thank you for coming through. Taking a break and joined you too. I hope everything is going well today. Or bring in the Danny, the dandy mindset. Not did, not did. Or bring in the did. Okay, Juliaba, thank you for joining us. William, thank you for being here. We're going to be here for 2 hours now because we have been here for an hour and some few minutes. So yes, we're going to be here for 2 hours. So usually we don't have that long session. So yeah, Juliaba, thank you for coming. What do you think about the free citizenship for African Americans? Kel Williams was explaining to us that Ghana, of course, expressed the will to give citizenship to the free will to give citizenship to the African Americans, but Kel Williams says it was a scam, and a whole lot of young, old African Americans who have decided to settle in Ghana. You have, of course, some of them have been murdered. He says there is a case of 4 to 5. So I learned that now from K. Williams, which I felt like, and I still feel that it's very extremely absurd for you know, for such thing to have happened to someone who wants to find peace back home. And of course, back to the topic, like I was explaining about the situation in I'm seeing General Mosquito. And hello, General Mosquito. We hope you're doing great. I was explaining the situation in Rwanda that I'm not satisfied. I personally am not satisfied with the fact that Rwanda is welcoming immigrants. You cannot compare the situation in Rwanda with, of course, the Bazungus in UK. So if UK has failed to, of course, control or to take care of these immigrants, how sure is Rwanda about these very same people? Because when immigrants come, they expect a lot. We are not sure whether the UK government is still going to keep on supporting these immigrants while they're outside or while they're in Rwanda. And then two, we usually see a lot of commotions. We usually see a lot of commotions within the neighboring countries of, where people usually migrate. Someone will migrate and probably go to Spain, and then within some time they say we have to make sure that we enter somewhere else, and they keep on moving from border to border. I think this may happen down here, and it is very funny. I thought that we are going to see a lot of black people, but again we are seeing a lot of white immigrants, which does not make sense to me. I don't know why the white immigrants are being brought down here, because first of all, the economical status of Africa cannot be compared to those other countries. UK has UK has had a lot of it has had a lot of connection with other Bazungu countries. Why has it not taken these people to the Bazungu countries? Why is it deporting these people to Rwanda in particular? And like I was saying, African leaders are weird. You see them at times, they do shit that is not acceptable
because of money.
Yeah, that even the young person can see that is just not right for you to be doing this. But we see African leaders doing that. So I feel like Kagame is benefiting from this kind of thing in one way or another. And secondly, usually there is, because we have seen immigrants, like I was saying, in the US turning into terrorists. We have seen young migrants who have come to the US, and we have seen them being prominent terrorists. We have seen a lot of, people who have been trained in the US are turning against the US. We have also seen them being used against other African countries and other places. So I'm still yet to be satisfied with this action, and I hope that what I'm really thinking is not what it is. All right. I want at least to think I'm a little bit paranoid about this whole thing, but it's gonna be sad. All right, it's gonna be sad. Maybe probably next time we're gonna hear that Kagame is responsible for some insecurities. He has done this in Congo, and this makes it so clear that he doesn't really care about what other his speeches may talk about Africa and blah blah, but the actions have been a little bit different. Because he has existed in Congo for a very long time, and we know he has also been a part of those people who have been exploiting Congo on both behalf of Rwanda and also the white people. All right, and so this is that dude who is signing contracts and signing, um, you know, um, deals with the Bazungu to bring immigrants to Rwanda, of which I'm so sure that these migrants are going to be moving all over East Africa. Okay, they're going to be moving all over East Africa, because this is what happens. It is easy for someone to smuggle themselves in Africa. You know that. You'll find someone is You'll find someone is sorry. So I think we're gonna have a lot of immigrants who are not only going to be in Rwanda. So I think people in East Africa should be scared of this. because those people are not only going to, of course, stay in Rwanda. We have seen how how we have had that free movement. All right, there are a lot of people that cross from border to border, and they have not even passed through the true, they have not gone through the right channels to enter. Okay, we've seen a lot of business people, vendors moving, entering Kenya, and they're Ugandans, and they have not moved through the right channels. We've seen a lot of Kenyans coming down to Uganda, and they have not gone through the right channels. We've seen the same Rwandese, we've seen the Tanzanians, we've seen people come. Now, with the high corruption, corruption in Africa, we are going to see these immigrants not only settling in Rwanda, but also they're going to keep on rotating around. Remember, they have free money. They don't need to work. Okay? They don't need to work. I don't know whether they're going to build the camps for them in Rwanda, camps where they will be staying and all that. Let me first read a comment. It's good as long as you vet where you are going. He says that K Williams is 100% correct. You can get scammed or disappear. You see, okay, I didn't finally full understand this UK Rwanda deal. So it's to destabilize Eastern Africa. This is Jibja, but that is what I feel, because there is no reason for this.
This is something like I was talking about, like like this is something I was talking about. Like I was telling you that they're making these people go to Rwanda, UK. Why is it that these people, they see that Africa doesn't have enough food? These people are examining and see these people, like, they make determinations over a lot of things in Africa. You mean these people, they don't analyze and examine to see what is going on in Rwanda? They see everything. So
because they are part of it.
they know that Rwanda is a small country. Rwanda can't have very big numbers of refugees. However, a lot of countries, not even UK, we have seen a lot of countries that are sending off refugees to what? To Africa. Now, like I was saying that whenever they send off these refugees, Rwanda is not a harboring place. Rwanda is not accommodative to people that are not Rwandese.
Even it has even some Rwandese.
So what comes after these people have spent some months in Rwanda? They end up going to nearby East African countries. They end up coming here in Uganda. The other time I was telling you, actually I was sharing some information here when you had gone out. The other time we were watching a video about a Muzungu man who killed a girlfriend with a kid after realizing that the kid did not belong to him. Amujjukira?
Naate bagamba yamukkiriza, yamufuna alina omwana we.
Okitegeera?
Yakiraba taata w'omwana ne yeekomyawo ng'ayogeranga kuwa omwana obuyambi bukyamu.
Now where do these people come from? They don't have documents. They don't even have hopes of leaving Uganda to go anywhere. They want to stay. I've seen a lot of. The other time, actually, I was looking for a video of a certain Muzungu was on the streets of Kampala begging some Ugandan men cigarettes. They were like, "You're Muzungu, you're begging us cigarettes. Are you okay?"
For weed.
Oh, it was weed. The guys were like, "Are you stupid? You're begging
So let me take some.
Yeah. However, I'm not
Little.
seeing the video. So where do these the Bazungus come from? They come from Rwanda. And I know there are a lot of Bazungus that are in Kenya because they can't stay in Rwanda for for a long period.
But the funniest thing
and
about
these Bazungus, the UK and other countries that are sending, of course, that are sending people to Rwanda, whites to Rwanda.
First of all,
they know that
food.
they are going to go to nearby East African countries.
They usually study and know what to do. First of all, there is no food in Rwanda. Okay, there is no food. So it doesn't like you were saying I even you say usually it is very hard for you, believe it or not, it is very hard for a Mzungu to come to Africa and wish to go back. It is just Africans who don't understand the treasure they have. We have seen this. We have seen them here. Some of them even go bankrupt because they don't even have jobs. All right, and
some of them have turned into scammers.
Some of them have also turned into scammers. They try to create some big deals,
organizations,
and organizations and all that.
And after scamming, they go to
so we saw this old woman, and there is one thing I know. There is one thing I know. We have some. I don't know how Africans understand this, but not everyone who is outside Africa is rich. I know a lot of people are poor, and I might even be richer.
K. Williams was telling us that African Americans that are being killed in Ghana because of money. They think they have a lot of money. You
understand? Not everyone who lives outside Africa is rich. And we have had a lot of Africans also who have traveled outside Africa. They are poor. They're even afraid of going back home. Okay? They have even not constructed, not even a toilet back home. And they have been outside for apparently like 10, 15 to 20 years. They have not even built a thing. They are there. There are people that, because me, I believe someone who rents a house where they sleep is poor. Okay? Because if you cannot afford your own house, if you can't be a landlord of your own, you're a poor person. Okay? Two, we have had a lot of Bazungus who are even not educated, who don't have qualifications, who have never been to school, who are very ignorant about a lot of things, who even don't understand how the world works. But Africans have a mindset that everyone who is outside Africa is smarter than them, is richer, is someone understanding more. It's with all that, there is a way they categorize those people. We've had also people who come here and they think staying here is easier. They will see
it's easy to survive.
Yeah.
Africans are stupid.
Someone will look and say it is easy to survive in Africa. If I have, more especially Uganda, if I have my 25, but first of all, it is easy here because food is cheap. The moment you can feed your stomach, everything tends to move, smoothly. Someone said the moment I have my $25, I'm gonna go to this place.
Americans.
So, and all that. So we've seen a lot of white people also coming to claim, and I still wonder the racist whites who will come down to Africa and also want to, of course, think that they can humiliate. Who think they can humiliate? Remember, there is this video, and I think I was very proud with this Muzungu, with this East African man who knocked a Mzungu out. Who knocked a Mzungu out. So the Mzungu was here, we are your Jesus, you're very stupid fellas, and all that, and the other people were capturing this on camera. So the way, whether he was a receptionist, he boxed him and he shut his mouth. You know, you can hit a Mzungu one blow and they are quiet. I don't know even why they are so bad. They are so verbal, but he hit him, and people expected to see this guy being sacked from work and all that, but he was defending himself because the Mzungu was going crazy. So I think there is a lot of misunderstanding between both the people outside Africa and those in Africa. We have a lot of people going through shit outside. We have got street old women and men who are living on the streets in the United States. There's other shit. In Africa, someone should be having a home in your village with the grandchildren. You trying to take care of your children. And but Africans don't look at this as something very precious, which is very hard to find outside Africa. All right, you find someone so old, they don't even have a family. Family is very important in Africa. Someone will say, I don't have a family. We were born two. My sister died in World War, whatever. So I'm alone. They are moving like they are ghosts or whatever it is. Because there are a lot of but you still find a lot of Africans wishing to be in such kind of places. You know, Africa is a country that goes through a lot. They will tell you there is no human rights in Africa. There is a lot of inhuman activities in Africa because the world out there is ready to judge Africa each time, each day. The world out there is always busy trying to judge Africa, and everyone thinks they have a right because, you know, you should talk about Africa bullshit stuff or stuff. And then people who don't know, who have even never been to Africa, they just see movies and all that bullshit. And they still believe. And they still believe that, you know, they have the right. So, and so I feel like until we project the right thing about us out there and stand and defend the truth about us, we should not be having white immigrants coming down to Rwanda. All right, you carry these immigrants, take them to where their fellow whites are at. If you want to bring immigrants back to Rwanda, bring the African immigrants, bring people who have come from Africa, because at the end of the day, we have a lot of things in common. We are not going to have our culture distorted. We are not going to have issues with of course, culture, defilement, and all that, because at the end of the day, we have a lot, and I feel like maybe they will even fix in so very fast compared to someone else. Yeah, last time we were saying that even if Africa has a diverse culture, we still have a lot of things that unite us within this same culture. That you will see Ugandans do this, Kenyans, and we'll see South Africans, and you understand, oh, they also do shit like this the way we do it. So we have that we have a lot in common. Why are they not bringing the African immigrants back here? So where are they going to take these other people? All right. Let me first say hello, Jiba. Okay, this was General Mosquito. Maria, America for Americans. All right. Gambians have African men on one bandage. Gambians have African men on one bandage, knee getting their groove back in their golden. I guess you're talking about Gambians. Oh, Gambians. What do you think about some Gambians? You look beautiful, Miss Maria. With this, I don't with the uh Tell you. So you meant Gambians. I don't know. One thing I know, if at all it is Gambia. You look beautiful, Miss Murray. Thank you so much. One thing I should say about maybe Gambians, if at all that's what you mean. Gambians have African men on one bended knee. They are Baba Wasa. Getting their groove back and their body. The issue of Africans marrying those old fellas. I'm not gonna say Ados. Let me call you that because that's what is on your name. I'm not gonna say that is something to celebrate really, because as a woman, I've seen a lot of women being heartbroken and a lot of shit going around with the old and the young fellas from Africa and all that. It's one thing to, of course, enjoy sex because that's the major purpose why we got this old white people sleeping around with the young African men. It is one thing for you to enjoy the sex, and at the end of the day, get heartbroken in your later days. It is a little bit shameful. I don't know whether it's a proud thing, but of course it happens really. Do you remember this story of this old Muzungu? She was from the UK. Where was she from? America? She was from the US. So I was always looking at this old woman, and at times I felt like, you know, there are a lot of things that people don't look at. There are a lot of things that people don't see as important, more especially when they are young. I may be here, I don't really care to have children or not, all right? Because you think you are in your 20s and you don't know 30s are coming. You don't know from 30s you're going to be in your 40s. And from your 40s, and we have people still in 40s enjoying life, which is good. And people forget that they're gonna experience that old age time. And this is why we are seeing a lot of those old people falling prey. You want to talk to somebody, loneliness is the worst disaster you can ever have. Honestly, it is the worst thing. I've seen this old woman who traveled here for a young boy. She was like, the guy was like 22 or 24 something. But his body was, I would think he was even 17 or something. So this old woman was like in her 80s. She traveled to Uganda and they rented a house and they were in a relationship with this young man. I guess they had to spend the money all the time. The young guy wasn't working, so it was this old woman to spend the money each time with the rents and all that. From taking expensive champagnes to wines and beers, they went down to take local to ghetto places. They went to a place where even I cannot rent. I'm sorry. So the guy was living with Hamuzungu there, and they rented a place. This Muzungu, from expensive champagnes, wines and beers and whatever, to this local alcohol. Take it out. That even the local alcohol is stronger than all these champagnes that people be talking about. And she be taking the local alcohol. I guess she gets drunk and does a lot of crazy things. And I think she also got traumatized because now she wanted to travel back to the US, but she couldn't because now they were broke. So So shamelessly, she was coming out. The government has to help me. I want to travel back and all that, you know. And everyone was saying, "What is grandma doing here? Why has she put herself in this kind of position?" To the point that they wanted people to, of course, raise money for them. And then one time we see a video. Actually, these people were training for some time. We see a video where the guy collapsed. They didn't have money. The old woman wanted sex all the time. They could not afford a 3 square meal, but each time the old woman wanted sex all the time. So I guess after taking the local booze and all that, the old woman wanted sex. So after they had sex, I guess, throughout the night and stuff. So I guess this young boy lost his stamina and he collapsed and he was taken to the hospital. And so he was like trying to say, somebody should help him. Somebody should help him. He cannot sexually satisfy the woman anymore. I mean, they don't even have food. And even when he's hungry, Thomas wants sex. And they take alcohol and all that, blah, blah. At your age, you are not only exploiting Africa's minerals, but you also want to exploit the African young boys, which is so unfortunate. I call that exploitation because at that age, by the way, women are wise. At that age, you know exactly what you're doing. You're dating someone who is not working. If at all you come prepared, it is okay. People love having sex, it's fun. So I don't judge when old women have sex with young boys or when whatever. It is a fun. If you're given that chance, do it. But not stupidly to the point that you're going to come on TV. You're asking for people who are poor, because we are known to be poor, right? To gather, I need some money. They collect some money so that I can get my visa back to the US. When you are coming, did someone collect money for you to come? Now, why should people degrade themselves to that level? Because everyone thinks it is very easy to survive in Africa, which is not true. Each country has their own issues that they are going through. So you cannot just wake up. It's something you're waking up and you're saying, right, yeah, I'm going to the US and I believe shit is going to be fine and all stuff. No. Okay, it may be fine with the time, but it's just not going to be fine just because you want it to. You have to make sure. And this is why we have a lot of young people still outside Africa dealing with the drugs, committing crimes, because they were not prepared for this. You cannot refuse to go to school in Africa and then you expect to go to the US and get a job. You're not getting this job here because you're not educated. You expect that even if I don't go to school, I'm definitely going to get a job. We've got a lot of people who are educated in the US and they have no jobs. So what makes you think that for you as an educated African man or woman, you'll have high chances of getting jobs? It was before where a lot of Americans
It's kind of fun how the learners are surprised when
their accounts are empty. You see, it is funny how, okay, it is for you, like I was, sorry, I'm just connecting to Ados's comment, sorry. I was saying that before, we had a lot of petty jobs that a lot of Americans were refusing to do. I guess when the economy was a little bit fair and when things had not gone this crazy, all right? And we did not have many Americans doing nanny jobs, okay? In America, we did not have a lot of a lot of Americans in general, because even now we have white Americans who are doing nanny jobs. We do not have them doing the janitoring, like cleaning and all that stuff. So a lot of Africans left Africa to travel to do those jobs that these people were not willing to do, which is okay, because if you cannot do something, you need the services. So it was fine. But now we are looking at a generation, or we are looking at the years where even the Americans themselves have put aside all the pride and everything, and they are engaging themselves in these petty jobs. Now, everyone who wishes to travel should know that we find Americans in the factory doing the packaging and all that, which they used not to do before. Before, most of the nannies were black Americans. You find the nannies and all that, most of them were black, so they were known for doing that. And now reached a time where the blacks are competing with the white Americans for the standards of living, for the jobs, for everything, apparently. Everything. And they are doing this well. So I think the mentality that a lot of Africans have, that I'm leaving home because, you may be leaving home to travel to the US, probably because at the back of your mind you think the moment I get a $100 note, that is something big. But before even you get so excited about that $100 note, the biggest question should be, what can I afford with that? All right, where am I going to be sleeping? Do I have medical insurance? Because in such kind of countries, when you don't have these insurances, medical expenses become highly expensive. The only people who have insurances are the ones who are a little bit or slightly favored. And this whole movie stuff we be watching all the time, there is a concept it gives everyone at the back of their mind. And also the people who travel don't love to tell the truth. Everyone wants to pretend they are very okay, and everyone wishes to be like them, but a lot of people are going through shit. Really. And these people don't want to say what they are going through. So if at all we are still struggling in Africa with all these packages, like I've been trying to explain, and I've explained just a few of what is going on, we are seeing men we should be respecting are disrespecting themselves. We are seeing a generation that we are praising to be a generation that wants to depend on an old Muzungu or an old white woman to be able to be a sexual slave, because there is nothing more they do, to be a sexual slave. And with also, I believe, thinking these people don't have HIV or other sicknesses, having live sex and all that package that comes with it, and not thinking about the men they are, then I'm wondering. Because there is an age where a woman is living, where a person, not even only women, we have also seen old men doing this, where a person is living their future. Okay? They are in their future. Even if they wake up one time and they are found in a lodge dead, if it was to be Africa, you celebrate and say they have lived their age. There is no connection that is a bullshit or silly connection between someone who has lived their time and someone who has just begun. If at all that connection is not educative, if at all that connection is not to enlighten you, to let you see what the world is, then that person is definitely a bad influence. Because you see, in Africa, when we meet old people, we usually call, here in Uganda, you call them Jaja. Whether that person is your granny or not, it is automatic. We respect them like that because they have seen moons that you've not seen before. They have seen suns you've not been seen before, and you may not even see. They have gone through phases that you'd wish to go through. And this is why we respect these people's words. I got to get back to work. I had some sense coming in here today. Keep up the great work. You too, Afem. Thank you so much, Ados. I call you that because I really don't know your name, but thank you so much for that great comment. Spikes54, thank you so much for also joining our live. Ados, thank you so much for, of course, dropping your comment and always comment whenever we are here. It has been long, by the way, since she yeah. But I guess this is usually her time. Maybe we come a little bit late some of the time, but thank you so much. So we respect that. So if I see, and they also call us grandchildren. And that's why someone will call you and then will be like, you get me some water. They'll even give you a jerrycan. They don't really care where you're going to. They may even see you like you're trying to move for work, but they will call you. All right, go get me some water, and you will not refuse. No matter how old you think you are, you go and do it for them. And some of them still respect us in that way. They will look at our child and they still question what is going on nowadays. They are also in their own world, but seated behind that dark eye and dark Irish, there is a lot of wisdom. So if I see someone I respect in such a manner, trying to degrade themselves, then I tend to question myself, what have those people been before this age? And this is something usually people don't really look at. You tend to ask yourself now, if this person is in her 60s, she's in her 70s, he's in her 80s, and they don't have a shame. Who were these people before this age now? Are you sure? Are you sure this is the same person you want to waste your youth with? Are you sure this person is the person you want to share your intimacy with? Are you really ready to sacrifice that precious moment with this kind of person who does not, first of all, respect the fact that you have just started your journey, and she only selfishly thinks about her emotions and the sexual satisfaction, because beyond that, I don't think there is anything they want. Because even these little boys, I don't think they're going to give them like a peace of mind. Because the next time he's calling on the phone, and you're going crazy about the fact that he has got his phone. And the next time, you have to teach her like your grandchild. Whether you want it or not, you're still a grandma. And you understand better. So, but we have that. And then we have Africans who only think about money. They don't really care what is coming. The package you're bringing, if at all you're giving me money. And there are also those who don't think about money. For them, it's sex. I want to go through that journey, whether she's giving me money or not. I just want to see Mzungu. I want to see how a white woman is like. But so we see that a lot of and then someone else and some other people wouldn't really care what is going on, but earn money from this. Other people just want to have a mzungu, no matter how the mzungu is like. For the women, I know some others will say, I want to sleep with the mzungu man because I want to have a child. How about these others who sleep with women who are in their menopause already? More especially the young African men. That means for them it's not about children. It's not about children, and I think it is more especially most of the African.
And it's not all about money.
They just want the adventure.
Yeah.
So I have this Nigerian friend of mine. Hey, Nameka.
Mm.
So he had this Muzungu woman from Norway,
Mm.
and I've never seen something like that before.
Mm.
Actually, I saw something and I was still traumatized. And maybe if at least I had seen those things when I was this,
Mm.
I think I saw some shit 10 years ago.
Mm.
And he was young,
Mm.
because now I guess he's a grown up man, I usually see, except his body doesn't change all the time. And
Maria spilling the tea.
so he started dating this Muzungu from Norway. And that so we are friends. At times we would go meet in some groups. I had a lot of time and I had lots of, every time I would come home, I would just get on my phone and stuff. So I knew their relationship with this. I guess she had when people are in love, they have those issues with their mind or stuff. She was so over controlling, despite they had that distance.
Mm.
And
So the guy was still in Nigeria.
yeah,
Mhm.
he was still in Nigeria, and this
So they were
Muzungu
dating
woman
online.
online, and
They
this
met
Muzungu,
online. They were dating online.
they met online. They had never seen each other before, but it's like this Muzungu, and for a long time, she always fancied Nigerian men or something.
Mm.
So they had that relationship and stuff to the point that the Mzungu usually used to send a lot of stuff to the guy. He knew the dad. The so they started dating, and each time he would come, probably you've made a comment. Each time he would come and react to the heart on your comment, this Mzungu man would come and start insulting whoever. If I told you a lady, and in this group, it was a very crazy group actually. It was like African women against the white Bazungu women.
Mm.
So each time African women would come, like people had a great relationship within that group, because someone would come like, oh, INNOSSETU, long time, and then if at all you come from the same area, you see the comments running in their language. And these boys were dating a lot of this Bazungu, and the moment the Bazungu would see, they would come, you're tripping around my man and all that blah blah. And I'm like, is this serious? You just go to the DP and look at a grown ass woman. She's behaving like a little kid, and at times I'll be like, wow. So, but at that time, I think I didn't know. I was too young to understand, very extremely young. So one time, I think they used to have some communication online. I guess online sex. I guess this is what these people usually do.
Online.
Yeah, yeah. People do that shit.
Online sex.
They do that thing. He told me so, and I'm explaining to you. And one day, I think throughout the conversation, she asked him to send his notes. Okay, so the young man sent the notes, and I guess she was excited about the notes. I don't know whether they were his notes or something. I don't know, but he sent the notes, and then he also said, "I want to see your notes." It's so shit. So he said, he sent all the things, and so the guy came. He was my friend. He came to my inbox and said, Maria, for all this long, I've been wanting. I was fantasizing having like a Mzungu man, but I feel I don't want to. And there is a way. I guess when you grow old, everything changes. All right. I don't know what happens, but I guess everything changes. And maybe it was disastrous. First of all, I think she had health issues or what. And then from nowhere, one time they were talking through, I think having the video calls or chats, and the teeth fell off. She did not. She did not have teeth. So that teeth, artificial. I'm not trying to laugh about this. I'm not. It's not because people do have that. People have issues why they don't have teeth. It's, I know people have reasons why they don't have teeth. So maybe for some people have gone through issues like accidents and all that, and they don't have teeth. So, but I think so I was like, how? Why doesn't she? But she, that's hilarious. I don't know why. So, and this guy was always recording. Now let me tell you how people are scammers. That's why with me, you cannot wake up and start telling me, I want to make a video call with you and stuff like that. You want to see me naked and shit. Video calls are good. You can call somebody, you can talk. You cannot tell me to go naked because I know there are apps that record on phone. You'll be doing your shit and someone has so. This is what this Nigerian guy was doing to this woman from Norway. He was usually recording. And she undresses herself and all stuff. And I don't think he was always recording with a camera. So that time I think they were talking. Whatever happened, the entire mouth, the entire set of teeth fell off, and the Nigerian guy was like, "Shit, what happened?" You know, when you don't have teeth, every facial, your face changes. She's like, is that real you? Is that how you look like and stuff like that? So, and she was like, yeah, I was an addict, and indeed she was, because the way she was behaving was not normal. It is a questionable situation. I usually question, okay? It is very hard, and for me, you cannot lie to me unless you are a criminal. That is one. Unless you have issues that I'm not sure of, you cannot lie to me. Probably you're not dating anybody around. You don't have a boyfriend around. You don't have, when you are grown, there is usually a reason. That means people around you know that you're not fit to be dated. So later, along the run, the guy got to understand that the woman had a mental problem. So, he was chatting with a mentally disturbed woman. So each time she was out of, at times she would be offline for some time and then she comes back. So whenever she's off, she has gone crazy. They take her to the hospital. And the moment she's back, and the moment so the moment she comes back, I think from rehab or whatever, they continue with their relationship. From her house, she had it decorated with these guys' photos. She had frames made out of his photos, the photos she would get from Facebook. That is how I learned that she was insane. All right. She had all the photos were posted. She had put everywhere on the walls. In the house, she had put 2 pairs of shoes, her shoes and that guy's shoe. And she was always showing him, this is our house when you come to Norway. This is going to be our house and all stuff like that. And she's moving all over. Jari nawe, ari mawaya tena ja travelinga alinga omunyiza ko naenda songota tagumira amababa taguma era kastamleta kaka janja amuvuma. So they are crazy for that soil oil. So she had all those things, and this guy was so very sure. And so I guess, so at times one time now bet fana ali omanye ndizi we fana wabunga munene bwatu wansi ogere winyiride we buti kyokka naye kubanga yemmodde bw'ati
ani yamukuba
yamanyi oyo geyamanyi yamugwako yataliko kyawa omukazi oyo so
mukazi yali alina sente
no, there is no way a mentally disturbed person jagenda obeeramu ne sente naawe. So he was this guy at one time tried to explain the entire situation. Maria, I want to travel. You know, I come from a poor family, and this woman is like this, like so. We were friends, and he started to explain everything, which is understandable. Me, I don't really care. It's not. I'm not like trying. If you decide to do that shit, if you're a grown ass woman and you don't know where to put yourself, then fine. But I told him, are you sure? Isn't this woman even going to kill you someday? Because she really seemed crazy. There is a certain kind of love that I don't want. There is a certain kind of love that is very scary. That if you show me that kind of love, I will just run away. You cannot just, for example, if someone wakes up one time and then probably maybe I've talked to someone on phone and you're not sure who I've talked with on phone, and then you started saying you're going to kill yourself. Now, if someone can love you that way, if someone can say, I'm going to kill myself for you, that means these people can even kill you. All right? So there are things that I don't think. So I looked at this woman and I was like, okay, he has this guy's pictures everywhere. They've never met before. Was sending him money, sending the dad and all that stuff.
The woman was sending money.
Yeah, they even moved to a very good apartment.
Within Nigeria or
within Nigeria.
So the woman came to Nigeria.
He didn't come. He was giving the parents to move. They moved from the village. They went to Onitsha. They started renting a flat. Yeah. The parents of the guy, the sisters and the guy, they started staying in that place. But at the end, along the run, this guy got to understand that the woman was mentally disturbed from a friend of that woman. So the guy was like, you have to go get your passport and all that, and then you travel, and sometimes she disappears for some time. And at the time when she has disappeared, travel. So with the time after, when this guy realized that the woman had mental issues, he started withdrawing. He started withdrawing from this. He started withdrawing. He started withdrawing from what? From this relationship. So the woman got crazy. He started telling him that I'm going to show all your nudes all over social media. I'm going to put your nudes on the web and all that. So that guy was like, I have a video of you doing all those silly things and stuff. So if you try it, I will also expose you. And the old woman says, you can expose me. I've lived my my life. It is you who is going to be ashamed. And secondly, where I come from, nobody's going to care. But for you in Africa, everyone is going to care. So the guy was a little bit scared because I think at that time this old woman was trying to blackmail him to either agree with the relationship. So they kept on, and she went to different groups and was tagging this guy. He's a scammer. They usually do those things. I know people always on Facebook see these things when women are tagging men. He's a scammer, and then would post their pictures of this guy and all that. Don't talk to him and all. So she was getting crazy because this guy was letting go. All right, this woman. So I think usually there are issues with these people because there's no one who's going to tell me you are in love with someone for apparently like 3, 4, 5 years online and you don't want to make a choice of people around you. that means there is a problem with you. And that's why these people around you don't want you. Nobody is ugly. No woman can, every woman has a chance of finding a man. And every man has a chance of finding a woman. Everyone finds where their soul fits. You may look at somebody and say, I can never date that person, but there is somebody who's willing to do that. So if at all you tell me, for you cannot date men around, you want only to date men online, there is a problem. And this is usually the problem these women usually have and the men. And this is why we see cases of a man, some of them are criminals. But then most of the people that even come to Africa are criminals. These are people that have killed people in their countries. These are people that have even murdered. These are people that have been in prison for big crimes. But now they know when you change the environment, come down to Africa. Africans don't usually question. You cannot be a grown-ass man who is like in your 50s or who is like in your late 40s and you're telling me you don't have a child. You've never had a woman before. I don't have a wife. You don't have an ex. All right. So you want to tell me at your age, you've never been in a relationship. Okay. Other countries do not send the best or the brightest. Exactly, GB Jabba. I do agree. Because we've seen a lot of crime. People don't wake up one time and just become criminals. More especially when it comes.
Refugees.
No, criminals like these people we see killing young African girls. People don't wake up one time and they turn to this. No, you cannot. How much is that money that you have invested in someone? Someone probably has been dating a woman for 3 months. And at the end of the day, you see they are killing them.
Most of the bazungus that we normally see, they are trafficking young African girls.
Yeah.
And by the way, they have two categories. These people have two categories. The whites I've seen from USA. Most of them they come as religious people. They're creating churches.
Balokol.
Yeah.
The born agains. Most born agains are from the US.
Now those from UK, these are people that are creating NGOs. Which take it through those NGOs and those churches. This is where they recruit and of course traffic young girls to those countries. The moment people realize that this is terrible, that they think of course trafficking young kids, young children. The moment they realize that a lot of kids have been taken, and once the community, African communities react very fast. Once they understand, once they realize that there is something that is not moving on well with any foreigner, they attack you. They attack you in broad daylight. Those are African communities. And once communities realize that there is something wrong, these NGOs and these, of course, churches are doing, these people shift and change the place. They shift immediately and change the place. Because for me, I normally see there are a lot of NGOs in our village. I've seen a lot of NGOs and churches which are sponsored by the whites. But these kids they sponsor. Once you take your kid there to be sponsored,
the other place you showed me.
Once you take your kid there to be sponsored or education stuff, you don't visit that kid. You take that kid there for good. You take that kid in that organization for good. Again. And Africans exaggerate. Those are Bazungus. They normally take kids outside the country. You never know that your kid was sold for sex slavery, and was sold for sex slavery and other things. And people don't realize this. Most of African people don't realize this. Because if at all these people helped your kid to go outside or abroad, outside Africa, and this kid cannot support you financially, if at all he's outside there making money,
What is the purpose?
what is the purpose of going outside Africa? For what reason? Because you lose contacts to this kid. I've seen this happening in very many.
Most of these people come here for a different purpose entirely, and they come with a different thought. Because when you think you're a Mzungu, you think that people don't cheat. The moment a black woman, an African woman, you think of that woman cheating on you, you kill them. Because when you think you are superior. And there is no black person who is even going to be having sex with a white and not cheat on them. It does not make sense.
And this is something that is terrible. I wish Africans we could wake up and quote whatever thing these people are doing in, of course, in our communities and in Africa. People and the media is one of actually the tools that are making everything worse in Africa. When we look at African, of course, media, it doesn't, of course, publish, it doesn't broadcast radios and TVs. Most of these radios, they don't broadcast the atrocities that are done with these whites that come to Africa. It is very rare to see a media, apart from the TikTok, that is the TikTok and Twitter, where someone can post a video. But these people do a lot, A lot of people are doing slavery in Africa. A lot of African people are being enslaved within Africa, working for these people. Of course, they know that the government will Jesus oil that squeak door just playing. Ah, so so like I was saying, that the media, the African media, it doesn't publish, it doesn't, of course, broadcast these atrocities that are done with these people, these Bazungu people they do in Africa. Apart from the issues where these people are demanding, where these people are calling Africans scammers, where these people they'll be like Africans scammed me, a Ugandan scammed me, a Kenyan, a Nigerian scammed me. You will see the media, you will see TVs in Africa trying to, of course, publish or broadcast such stories, but you can never see stories of you can never see stories of like a Muzungu did this. Okitegere? Omuzungu ne wabeera mwavu, even when the white is poor. Even when the white is poor, that is the strength that these Bazungus have in Africa. Okitegere? Even when he is poor, he's poor. Okitegere? There is a church I know. It once belonged to an old woman. It is just in the nearby, so
I'm going to.
So I was saying that there is a certain church. It was a local church, a born again church. In the village that nears us, in our village, in my home district. This woman belonged this woman possessed that church before the coming of these Bazungus in that village. When these Bazungus came to that village, they bought a part of the land from that woman. So they made a collaboration with this woman. So this Muzungu did not come with religious, of course, goals, objectives to this place. But after realizing that most of the people within that area come to that church, so the guy collaborated with this woman. I don't know what aside what which documents they signed with this woman stuffs. I don't know much. But after some time, this church, this Muzungu guy invested in this church, tried to, of course, make some renovation in the church. He made it even a flat one. Check it out. It wasn't a flat one. So people started coming there. So by this guy was trapping kids, was trapping parents. Check it out, talking to these parents to trust him with their kids. So after some time, the land he bought, um, he constructed a well fenced. He constructed a fence along that house he constructed. Then he created an organization. It is called Okoa. Have you ever heard of that organization? Are you sure? It is also in Kenya. It is also in Kenya, but I guess the main branch is in our village. It's called Okoa. Then, after the woman had died, this Muzungu guy took the church for free and the land. The Muzungu guy bribed the police and the local leaders. Whenever these people the kids of this woman would come to claim land, they could be silenced. So the guy the land is very big by the way. So the guy is possessing the church, has constructed their flat, but is getting money out of these kids. Once they once these kids come there, he like this. It's like a scamming thing for me to see. They're targeting girls, by the way. They are creating vocational trainings stuff like the tailoring and over bakery stuff. Bakery stuff. But once you go there, you don't get out of there. They say that once you're done, you have learned your bakery, you're now competent with bakery, that they take you to USA.
Like they have no bakers there.
They take you to once you learn your tailoring stuff, they take you to USA. And very many girls in the village, they are fighting so much to reach that organization so that they can be taken.
But you have never seen anyone come back.
Yeah,
That
they
is
don't
the
come back
weirdest
and they don't
thing.
help their families.
You've never seen anyone come back. You've never heard that so and so talks to the family. You're not even sure if they are alive or not. But all you want to go is leave Africa and go to the US. Now this is what is really happening, and we have not seen. You see. You can understand. I'm not trying. Ignorance isn't something that people should use. People should use to, of course, avoid being condemned. And ignorance is never an excuse. It's never an excuse. But I'm not trying to make an excuse. But you can see we have not seen. People usually talk about Africans being scammers all over different places. Somebody will say Africans are scammers scamming. I usually see a lot of African American women. Usually, I've not seen a lot of African American men. I've not seen a lot about black men talking about green cards and all that. But of course, I know even one thing that a lot of black Americans don't even have passports. Okay, but I don't know. I've seen where a lot of African American women online, some of them on different platforms, talking about African men that you want green cards, you don't have love and all that. Don't look for love online. Do you have black men around? Or are these black men not ready to be the handbirds? They don't want to be ordered around. And the problem comes that everyone thinks you can order around an African man. So that's why we have a lot of women online looking specifically for black men, African men. One, for sex. I'm not going to say African American women will be looking for young black men for sex, because I think when it comes to African people, whether in diaspora or in Africa, they have a lot in common when it comes to that field. So I'm not going to say they have not had that in America or they want to have that in Africa or stuff, but they are looking for men who are going to be submissive. And people are getting this wrong, and this is why we are seeing a lot of white men killing African women, really, because for them they have that mindset. They are black women in America, of course, or in UK, think that when I get this stupid black man from Africa,
It's going to be puppet.
I'm going to control him because I failed to control these idiots. All right. And they really forget black man is a black man no matter where they are. And people don't really know this. There is no difference. And someone definitely think I'm going to go in for that and I'm going to be ordering around, all right? Yes, these men are simple, they can control. This is coming from Jibjaba. These men will be obedient because they have a reason why. And that's why we see a lot of people who complain after getting a green card, they dump us and all that stuff. But you did not take them for the right purpose. Otherwise, if it was for the true purpose of you being a wife to someone, you'd even not be looking for another man when you also have other African men, for example, who are in the US, or other black men who are in the US. But you think the moment you get this young man from the village, you can control. You do control because some of them know. All right. Some of them will be humble because I have nowhere to go at. Okay. So I have to be humble. And the moment they have got vast to the place, they boom, they run away. And then you start crying about the green card they have used us. Men are really different from women. And this is why at times if you search this back in of course tradition, men are different. Men can learn to love. Men are people who can learn to love. And probably she starts staying with somebody who she did not love at the first place. She learns. You see, people usually don't understand. Men are way more kinder than women. You know, for us women, we cry a lot. Yeah, we do all that kind of thing, but men are people who are kind in their heart. And like women are not, they are driven by different things entirely. It is a woman who has never loved you. She will never love you even if you're with her for 100 years. There is nothing like I'm waking up to love somebody. If at all it is like that, there was still a little bit light of you loving that person. There was a small light of a candle of a woman loving a man. That's different. But there is no one who has not, there is no woman who doesn't love a man completely that will wake up and say, I got married to him. I didn't love him. I didn't have anything about, any feel, not even the slightest feeling about him. And now I love him. That is a man. A man will love a woman for different reasons. Because for them, when their feelings of love are not the same feelings of love with women. So if at all you have managed to be with this man for all that long and still things don't go right and all that, people tend to think it is easy for you to use a man, no matter how young somebody may be, more especially African people. The media shows a whole of different things. The movies will show you she's a silly man who gets a panga, go with the wife in the garden. He digs and carries a basket of cassava. He's a grown-ass man and his mother is still sending him. Those are different things that cannot be compared. But the fact that an African man does all those things, that when you go to that village, you still have to slash the compound for your mom, you still have to fetch water for your mother. When your mother harvests the banana, you carry the bananas on your back. Whether you are rich, whether you're having cars, whether you're having children, African men do that. Ugandan men do that. But that doesn't mean that there are stupid people who can be pushed around like a lot of people think. And when it comes to women, the same thing that runs in people's mind. They cannot, do what they want. They are going to be following you around. This is why we are seeing them killing. Okay? This is why we are seeing them killing. You're not going to drive away. I always say, no matter what, Maria, are you gifted with this insight or did you learn this the hard way? You have relationship with your thinking. Thank you. I don't know. Maybe I was gifted with that. I've not learned that the hard way. I just know that it's just the obvious thing. So I think because me, I've seen people, okay? We have seen on movies. Last time we saw the other clip where this old Muzungu was talking about child raising. So on in movies, when we are watching movies and really
as scripted. That's what they want the world to see. That is about Bazungu.
Now, no, you listen. We live. I usually say we live a movie. For us, we are acting something they have written, like you said, a scripted thing. We have not had the chance. I may be here talking to Jib Jabba. I know a little bit about Jib Jabba, and what I know about him is what he told me about him, or what he says here when we are talking along the run, Maria, my life and stuff, like a little bit. So when I look at Jibba Jabba commenting, that is what I know about Jibba Jabba. All right. So if at all he's trying to lie about me, I tend to believe that because this is what I know about him. Okay. Now, we have watched a lot of movies that a lot of Africans think this is the real life. We have seen a lot of people, more especially those who think they are rich. There are people who think they are rich because each of us have things we call riches. For me, being rich is not about me having 10 cars and how many cars. That is not being rich to me. But someone is really concentrating on having those cars, and they think this is me being rich. This is not me. All right. I have. If I sit here on Blackout Fire Network and I tell INNOSSETU that I'm rich, he may not understand why I'm saying I'm rich. All right. It says, Maria doesn't have a car. Why is she talking about being rich? I have my own reasons why I think I'm really rich, and So we watch these movies, and a lot of people who think they are rich, actually they are poor, because they are following the wrong things. They tend to think, if I'm a rich guy, if my children are studying in an international school, you start living a movie life in your real life. Because you watch this family movie and children were talking back to their parent, and you felt like a child has to. Because this is what's modern. And you as a parent, you're proud about it. Somebody watches a movie and children are doing a lot of silly things, and the child is going to be doing it, say, children go through this. This is life. All right? This is what. And a lot of people think, a lot of white people have been an example. For them, in the eyes of Africans, they have never been a bad example. They are always the perfect example of everything. Someone will say, you see the way white people raise their children? Do they even have children? Before they start saying the way they raise, do they have? This is because most of them don't really.
And very many people in the villages there, they say, bya kizungu.
Yeah. Each time someone is being stupid, they usually say that is a European thing, and they make it sound like it is very precious, like it is something very extremely important. So we see. So, so we see a lot. Now people are changing from the African way of raising children because they think for you to raise a child, it is okay for your child to come with the boyfriend, and you are going to support that because the movies are telling you it is okay for your child to come and pass and go to her room or his room and he's not talking to you. It is okay because you said when I watched Will Smith's movie, his children were definitely doing that, and at the end of that day we saw these children were fighting. That was something. Those are imaginations. A lot of people, movies are just imaginations that people create and they put into action. So a lot of people look at that. But we have also seen, and some people think that people outside Africa don't whoop. They don't whip their children. So you don't whip your child. Because in movies, we don't see people whipping children. It is just not right. I mean, you know how people can fall in love with movies and the actors and all that. They not only fall in love with the actors, but the entire action. And someone wants to carry this whole action to their house. And then when it comes to Indian movies, you find a lot of women having extra demands that are so even abnormal. They even don't know that these Indians don't even know.
I normally see people. There is time where there were a lot of soaps on Ugandan TVs. You could find Indian soaps. However, I see Ugandan movies now.
But they're also there. Indian soaps are also there. Like on the
now, if there is
I had to pick a switch of a tree.
So, whenever there are, of course, disagreements or conflicts within a family, you hear wives, you hear women referring to movies. Or I'm a film in the other movie they did like this. Yeah, they are the same things you want to. They're the same.
Now
people know how to handle women.
Actually, these things have created. They have created
a virtual life,
and a certain kind of imagination that real life is different from movies.
Movie life.
And
because everyone
it makes
in movies
people
looking
feel
nice.
so.
Even a mad person in movies.
Yeah, it makes it. It is a fantasy that people tend to think is a real thing. You see. So I think that we have had a lot of time. I love watching movies, and whether if I was someone to be driven by things, I think I would be a man.
By that, when I was growing up, very many kids of my age during my years dropped out of home. Just because of the movies. Home. Yeah, just because in the movies we are watching Black Americans, they grew up when they were
they're on the streets, in the ghettos. So someone says, I'm definitely gonna be like that.
Home, I will live my own life without my parents.
Yeah, I know. I also know someone. I know to go to bed. I'm by Hey,
no, look at, by the way, look at this prominent thief that died recently. Yeah? It was called Sobi. He said that he got the inspiration from that film about from Sobiba, like stuff from Sobiba.
Yeah, Sobiba.
That's
and he started living his life.
Like that. He was a prominent thief. The other guy killed the people. The guy stole. So that is
and
how
even he named himself
Sobi. Muzungu boys I went to school with, their daddies always had a thick leather belt.
Hanging on a door.
As a reminder that if you make a mistake, you have to be wiped.
At times we depend on Africans every time. You think whipping your children is the best thing to do. Don't you see how white people can whip as well? But in the movies you see, I think they know how stupid
you see
Africans in Africa
you see that freedom
can
that is
be.
given to kids, like someone brings him his boyfriend.
They go to their bedroom.
They go to their
What kind of nonsense is what kind of nonsense is that? There is someone brings their boyfriend, your daughter, you see your daughter and the boyfriend, they are passing. Hi mom. They go to the bedroom.
Hello, this is my boyfriend.
And then you enter. They go to the bedroom and also you start saying,
I've not seen that in Nigerian films. I've not seen that in
I'm giving them let's give them some privacy.
Yeah, they need some privacy.
And some other people are stupidly doing that. Now the child is going crazy. We have a prominent man here, by the way. He has one child. He has one child.
Like the guy has almost all his kids outside, apart from these young ones. I was saying, but they are all out. And whenever these girls come with their they're not even boyfriends, with their husbands. Yeah, with their husbands, they come direct to their daddy's house. They come to their house, they give them a room, they sleep, they spend there like 2 months. They go to club, they come back to their daddy's home, they leave.
So I was this man, he wanted to raise his daughter
in that modern
because he had money, and now the lady's going crazy. Today she's dating a Nigerian. The next day after Nigerian, they are showing sex tapes and all that. And then she's young. She's not even to her 30s. She's extremely young because this is the liberty. And now the father is ashamed. He's trying to call the girl into order. The girl has become wild. The next time we see her nudes, she's beautiful. She has got a good body, and each time I
remember there is time I saw that guy trying to say, like, I don't want that boyfriend. He has dreads like for Konyi, for Medogro. I don't want those stuff. But this is the kind of life you raise
your daughter to.
Could actually here be something.
By the way, when even she wasn't
about.
18, she was already sleeping with men who are older than the father. She never dated young boys. We never saw her date young boys because she has grown in the limelight. All right, we have never seen Gashumba dating a young boy. She started with these producers, God's father, a Nigerian man, a grown-up man. We saw that they dated for some time when she wasn't even 18. Very young.
They dated for some
good time. I guess that is the man who introduced her to the world. And then she went to South Africa. When she was still a teenager, now she was dating a grown-ass man. And your father have everything. The reason why this lady even gets those because the father can afford. Each time she's flying to Florida, she's going to Australia, she's down in Brazil, she goes for vacations in Dubai. Why are you having sex with just despicable people anyhow? But she enjoys that.
And she wants celebrities.
The moment she puts her eyes on a celebrity, she's definitely gonna meet it. Celebrity, and then she travels to the US to meet some US celebrities. What are you doing?
And the father used to post those photos when they're attending to Rihanna's
Rihanna's concert. Rihanna sent me a ticket, blah 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 blah, and now she's a child of the world. And despite of her having everything that everyone would wish for, she's not rich. This is what I say. And probably time is going to reach, because all the things you get used to everything. It is like what I was telling you today, like what is the essence of someone having a man who is not man? Because it tends to be boring. So you're probably, and I think a lot of people enjoy, everyone want to see someone they control. What is the difference of me having my son and a husband? What is the difference between a man you're controlling and your own son? And what difference does that one really make? So I see, despite that this lady is thinks probably she has everything, time is going to come. Bano abantu bagenda okukola ebiswaza at that old age. These are like the real people we are seeing coming. And when she reaches that old age, she's not going to be loving these old men anymore. She's now going to turn to teens, to little boys. She has not had that experience before. Now, when she reaches a time where we expect to see her have the grown-ass ostriches like her, she's going to turn around and start dating these little boys. Because usually these people's spirits are driven by sex. They are influenced by that. You understand? So these are like the same people we see around here. Because how can an 80-year-old woman, you decide to travel from the US, UK, Canada, wherever you're traveling from, to just come and have sex with a 17-year-old boy? What are you? What is that in your mind? Like, people do, anyway. I think each to their own. I don't know. Maybe I don't see things the way they are supposed to, but I don't think it is something that is someone to do that. They must have had a very hard ride throughout their life.
For me, I grew up knowing that whites are superior, and whenever I could look at whites wherever they were, I was like, I told them they could be having money, and
Everyone does.
my mind could drive directly to money whenever I could see them at school.
You say these are rich people now.
And what I would expect, like these people to give us money, but unfortunately, these people whenever we could, these people could visit our school, there was our village, they couldn't be giving us money, but my minds were always rotating with money, and what they could offer was sweets. Because we used to work with sweets and chocolate during those days. During those days.
That is a mindset.
And by the way, you
everyone
could
has.
see young men like moving around with these people.
Ojolaba n'embago balanga banjula tebana yakabi. Walabako ng'omuzungu ayanjula. Butte nti bubaawo tebutegeerekeka. Baba tebalina sekka. And a lot of women are falling prey. Because for them, they think the moment, if at all you are going, it is okay. I know Mzungu that had a house when I was young.
I was told as a child, TV is not real. It saved me a lot
of disappointments.
And by the way, very many people could be destroyed in Africa by now, but people are just learning now to buy TVs. And social media, by the way, because now someone can watch a series on
their phone.
But
it is crazy, really, because a lot. I know Mzungus that had an outhouse when I was younger in a residential neighborhood. So a lot of young African women have been disappointed. A lot of them are out there looking for bazungus. The only thing they say, me, I want a white man. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter whether they are, and usually they don't want young ones. Older ones, and not because they lack that self-esteem, because they believe a young one is not going to love me because I'm a black woman, because I'm an African woman. So all their choices are always about these old people. because they go in this relationship also knowing that this old fella does not love me. He wants my sex and I want his money. They know that. All right. So, but the problem is, you usually have what they want, the sex. But at the end, they don't have what the African women want, the money that has brought them. And this is why you find that along the line, a lot of them are disappointed. Most of the Bazungus even who come here,
there is a woman, she's no longer a girl. There is a woman I know who are there is a woman who has been whom I know has been traveling to USA, but keeps on whenever she goes, Ajana Rubuto, she comes with a pregnancy. She has over 4 Bazungu moratos. She has over 4 malls.
And she leaves them here.
Yeah, she leaves them there. She goes back. She has over 4 malls. They speak good Luganda. They speak good Luganda.
I've seen
They
this.
look like Bazungus, but they speak a native language very well. They speak very good Luganda. They're there in the village, 4 of them, and from different men. I remember there is a certain Muzungu who came to introduce her some time back, but they separated they separated in the same month when the Muzungu was still even in Uganda.
What happened?
I don't know what happened, but they separated when the Muzungu had not even gone back. They separated. This was, by the way, this was a real black woman.
I have a relative of mine who got married to a black American man. And they were all with this pretending shit. We are born again, we are local Levichani. She's a prominent person. She comes from a respectable family and all that. And they got married here. Their wedding even appeared on TV, newspapers, and everything. She traveled to the US with him. She had studied in the US. She traveled, and after some time they divorced. Ngagamba nti omusajja yali ayagala mukwica nga mukabi nawokka. Yeah. So they divorced, and the excuses were they were right. She had the right to not agree to that. Now you see, the man was black. He was black American, but the grooming was a little bit different.
There was a white grooming.
She expected something different straight up from the bedroom to everything, and this black American man was a whole on another level that she felt like, according to her, she couldn't do what that man demanded. And the first time she persevered, until she felt like she can't do that anymore. They had to divorce, and they left. And at the time when she started refusing, the husband started raping her, forcing her into sex because she did not really want whatever this man wanted, that I'm not going to mention. But as a black African man, American man, she thought, I'm dating my fellow black man, so I guess shit is, the way it is. The way it is usually is now. The other one had different imaginations and all that. So you see this now if you look at that Muzungu. And secondly, one thing I've learned about people who live outside Africa, whether the person is black or not, or Muzungu, they have a lot of things that are common. You see, these people, even it might even be Jib Jabba, it may be whom. I may not be a Nigerian, but I know a lot. And if a Nigerian behaves somehow, I may know what they are communicating. I may know what they are doing. Now, when there is a Muzungu or any person who has never been to Africa before, whether they are black or white, even those who come to Africa, the moment you are the first person who reports or who says something about the other, they believe what the first person has said. I'm going to use Jib Jab as an example. If it is me, I'm doing some shit about you, right? I've hurt you, probably I've done a lot, and then you decide to ignore, and maybe I'm afraid that Jib Jabba will get to know. So I rush to Jib Jabba and I'll be like, INNOSSETU shit like this or like that. The next time Jib Jabba tries to say something and INNOSSETU tries to explain, Jib Jabba will never believe INNOSSETU because I came first. Their mind is the Bazungu mind is always like that, and I think this is the same thing I've seen with a lot of Black Americans. The moment you tell them something, they don't evaluate, especially when it comes to people that they don't really know. So I'll try to explain, I don't do that shit. Let me try. No, you're not going to say no. I don't know. So this is and this game is usually played here. I see with the Bazungu. So a lady gets this Mzungu, and then later, yo Maria, I've got this Mzungu guy and blah blah. And then the moment I get this, you are Mzungu guy, and I paint you shit all over. The next time you come, a Mzungu is not gonna even to question, like, Maria, is it true? He's gonna say, I don't want to see you anymore. They're like children. They don't understand shit.
Not nothing, baby.
So I've realized. So for me, this is why at times, with what I've learned with people who don't live in Africa, and something they don't even know, I cannot unring a bell. You cannot unring. Yes, you cannot unring. So there is always this mind game. And me, I'm really sorry. I don't even trust African people. I don't. So when I told you to say something, I don't have to explain, because I know explaining is wasting my time. It will just piss me off and I get things worse. So I let that be the way it is. But we have had a lot of issues. It takes time for you to study. Africans are people who want to eat somewhere all the time. I'm not talking about eating food. All right? I'm talking about someone who wants to appear good. That cheap popularity they have towards people who are not Africans is very stupid. People usually think Maria is so rude. No, you cannot put me down like that. I cannot be looking for cheap. So now I'm gonna be doing this to Jibby Jabba because no bullshit. I don't do that because I cannot be doing that. But a lot of people do. There are some, you go to a company where you'll find Bazungu. Ochimanyi, someone can be promoted from being a sweeper to become the manager of the company because this person has been gossiping about the manager. And the Mzungu will believe. And then you see the manager is gone.
In the US, you have to have a cool meter when dealing with our
I've seen a lot of people who are against their own. You understand? So you will see someone from nowhere in a company. If at all there is a Mzungu or even an African American, you see someone who has been a cleaner, has been promoted to the other level. And the other one has either been sacked.
It is always sucky.
And it is always because the moment people know how to play the mind game with these people. Me, I'm not. You see, banange sobola nti kyova kati nawe omunyambe simanyi nange ejja mukwanze naye tomanyiira gumu ebiri tonnangira gumu ebiri na busente bunkwesonyiwa n'ensula enjala nenakwesi nga sizikusabye kati ogenda okiraba nga kyokka kyekomyawo. It never. And people always, and this is the issue Africans have. And the most funniest thing is that you get to understand that when it comes to someone who is not an African, you yourself, you become an enemy to your fellow African. Whatever reason, I don't know why they do like that. I don't know why it is important for them to behave that way. Each time, probably some people get favored because of professionalism. Someone will be professional in their things, and definitely somebody says the only way I can do that is to paint you shit. And the next time you hear you're called in a meeting and stuff, people have lost their jobs. That's why people usually say it is very hard for you to secure a job with a foreigner. You cannot, a Mzungu cannot employ you. If you want to be employed with a Mzungu for a very long time, you have to be dirty. You understand? That means each time you have to play that game of blackmail. Now people like us, we cannot manage that game. Because for me, I don't have strength for that. If you feel like I cannot work for you, best, period. It is. If you feel like you don't trust, why should you be with someone who doesn't trust? And now these are the things that are going around.